Archaeologists are still looking for the tomb of Egypt's last queen, and there are different ideas about where she was buried. Egyptologists and researchers have looked all over Egypt for the tomb of Queen Cleopatra, but they haven't found it yet. In this video, we'll show you where Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of the Egyptian dynasty, is thought to have been buried. But before we start, make sure to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for regular updates. Let's get started. The Valley of the Kings has been a great place to relax for thousands of years. Many things about ancient Egypt were still unknown. One of them is a secret tomb that was built in the Valley of the Kings by a later dynasty pharaoh to keep the bones of his ancestors safe. During Egypt's fall, the royal tombs of several kings and queens were not as well protected in the Valley of the Kings, so thieves broke into the tombs more than once. The damaged and desecrated mummies of his 18th, 19th, and 20th century predecessors were reburied in a safe place by a post-21st century king. He secretly built a tomb and reburied the remains of his ancestors. Thanks to this change, ancient Egyptian embalmers had a rare chance to better understand and refine the mummification process. When they were repairing the bodies, they also got to see what a mummy looked like after 200 years. The Valley of the Kings is also known as the Place of Truth, or the Great Necropolis of millions of years of Pharaoh. It is still one of the most famous archaeological sites in the world. The Royal Cemetery contains the tombs of Egyptian pharaohs who ruled between 1539 and 1075 BC. There are more than 60 tombs in this small area, but only a few are open to the public. Hunters, floods, and most recently, a lot of people visiting have done a lot of damage to the tombs. Carbon dioxide, friction, and humidity caused by the average of 2.8 grams of perspiration left behind by each visitor have also done a lot of damage to the reliefs and colors of the paintings on the walls. The tombs were kept secret for hundreds of years until beautiful royal jewelry showed up on the Egyptian antiquities market in the late 1870s. Cleopatra ran an empire that included Egypt, Cyprus, and a part of what is now the United States. After her father died in 51 BC, Cleopatra took over as ruler of Libya. According to ancient Egyptian customs, she needed a male co-regent, so she married her brother Ptolemy XIII. Cleopatra is a well-known leader who is said to have brought wealth and peace to the country. In 49 BC, when he was 13 years old, Ptolemy made a plan to get rid of his sister and become sole master. When Cleopatra was forced to leave Egypt and start her own army, Egypt fell into civil war because the two brothers had different ideas. Julius Caesar helped get rid of Ptolemy and make Cleopatra queen again, just like most kings and queens are today. Cleopatra thought she was a god, and she and her family were treated as gods and queens from the time they were born. She was very self-conscious about this. Cleopatra kept her allure by putting on shows of grandeur and hanging out with the goddesses Isis and Aphrodite. As a result, she made a big contribution to the myths that still surround her today. According to new Egyptian texts, she was very popular with her own people. Greeks made up most of the ruling class in Alexandria, including Cleopatra, who was related to General Ptolemy, the first sovereign of Alexander the Great. They set themselves apart from the mostly Egyptian population by speaking Greek and following Greek customs. Unlike her ancestors, she did take time to learn the Egyptian language. She also paid artists to make pictures of herself in classic Egyptian style for Ptolemaic viewers. The discovery of the tomb of Cleopatra, the famous queen of ancient Egypt, came as a surprise to archaeologists. Experts say such a discovery would rewrite history and be once-in-a-lifetime event. According to one archaeologist, she may have done it. Archaeologist Kathleen Martinez from the University of Santo Domingo found a tunnel in northern Egypt that she thinks goes to Cleopatra's final resting place. A 81-foot-long tube, buried 43 feet underground, was found after nearly 2 decades of searching. Archaeologists have found a huge religious center with 3 temples, a sacred lake, and more than 1,500 items, including busts, statues, gold coins, and a huge collection of coins showing Alexander the Great, Queen Cleopatra, and the Ptolemies. Martinez told CNN Plutarch, an old Greek historian who wrote a book about Cleopatra's husband, the Roman general Mark Antony, says that they were to blame. Antony and Cleopatra were buried inside Cleopatra's tomb while looking for Cleopatra's tomb. This is the most detailed account of Cleopatra's last days. Kathleen Martinez and her colleagues from the University of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic found a huge, amazing cave under a temple in the now ruined city of Taposaurus Magma on Egypt's coast. Martinez started looking for Cleopatra's tomb in Egypt about 20 years ago. He is sure that after more than a decade of study, the Temple of Osiris, which is dedicated to the god of death, is the most likely place where the queen is buried. Martinez finally met with archaeologists and the former head of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, Zahi Hawass, in Cairo after many failed tries and emails that were not answered. Martinez said that after visiting dozens of churches, the search for the old queen's tomb was almost over. Her research led her to believe that Cleopatra's tomb was under the old city, and the Egyptian government eventually gave her permission to do a long archaeological dig. It took her 2 months to prove her theory, and the discovery of the ancient tunnels was a big win for the team. The tunnels were dug in solid rock between Osiris magma, were 43 feet deep, and were 4,300 feet long. They were praised as geometric wonders. In fact, the tunnel looks like a 6th century Epeilonos tunnel on Samos, a beautiful Greek island in the Aegean Sea. There were also priceless items found. Hundreds of expensive items are said to have been found in the tunnels, including coins with images of Alexander the Great and Cleopatra, a lot of clay pots, alabaster statues from the Ptolemaic period, a bust of the late queen, and other Greco-Roman items were also found. The ancient tomb of Cleopatra has not yet been found, but there is more hope than ever that it will be found soon. This discovery offers a lot of fun, which is great. That's it for today. What do you think about this discovery? Tell us in the comments section. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to share and press the bell icon for more regular updates.